Hello, this is Miho from Canada. How are you guys doing? And today I've been thinking about mindset or mind shift. When you feel anger or frustration or worry, anxieties, and all those negative sort of low feelings, what would you do? I used to be living in that dark zone, like constantly, every single day. I was feeling sad, frustrated, angry, or disappointing to my disappointment, and worry. What else? Like bad feelings about myself, no confidence, self-esteem was so low. I didn't like myself, etc., etc. So I was operating from this low vibration. And of course, things you attract is the same thing or similar things, or the people you attract, same thing. So that you're getting into this loop of the bad cycle. And when you're living in that state of being, you just don't see how you get out of there to see the light. And you see people around who's so confident, who's so brightened and so vivid, and things are going so well, successful, healthy, and happier and wealthier. And you look at them like, how come they're like that? And you know in your heart that you want to be like them. You know it right here in your mind or your thought process, thinking that I love to be there. But I had so many excuses, like, oh, because my parents are that way, or because my environment is not that way, or they must have a rich family or rich environment or great education or great looks, all those things that I don't have, but they do. But you have no idea how their background is, how they lived as a child. You just assume that they got everything since they were born, right? And you don't have any of those because you were living in this environment, or the parents are this, or co-workers are this, and financially this, and you're living day by day wishing to be healthier, happier, wealthier, but you're cursing your existence because you didn't have this, because you don't have that, and you just wish you had this but you don't, and those are excuses, right? So when you start shifting your mindset, which means to recognize where you're operating from. For instance, myself, I was operating from a worrisome or anger, despair, frustration, anxieties, and all those like low level vibration. But vibration means that what you're thinking up here, your beliefs, and that you practice it every single day, so that becomes your vibration. What you think becomes your vibration, and people around you feel it too by, oh, that person seems nice, or that person seems really weird or scary, right? So you have that sense in you as a human being. You may not see it because energy is something that you don't see in color or the shape, but you're constantly getting that vibe, getting that feel. Anyway, so and as a child, I think when I look back, I had a very high sense of catching the energy. So when people are mad or people are going to get mad, I sense it, and so I get extra volumes of bad vibes from other people, and that really heavily weighed on myself, and I put myself down and I let people to literally push me down. Yes. And in order to live from the higher level, you need to recognize that where you're operating from. And you have, as a human being, this beautiful gift called the free will, which means that you have the choice to make your own decision. That separates from us from animals. Like, animals are beautiful and just they live the way they are, but they don't really choose the way you want to live. What I mean is that as a human being, any given situation that you face, you have the choice to decide which direction you want it to go. It's like you're in the woods, wandering off, and now you became to the fork. And then you have the choice to go right or left. And right has a bright path, and the left is like a comfortable path, like you always been. This light path, it could be danger, it could be unknown because something new, but you might decide to go this way. You need a lot of courage to go this way. But this comfortable zone, you're always seeing the same scenery, same thing, so you know what to expect. So it's easy for you, easy on you, but the things it's gonna be the same as well. So that's the kind of decision breaking point, whether you're gonna step up or just stays the same way. That kind of same idea, that when you realize that you're operating from this low level of state of being or conscious level, what you see is what you're operating from. But when you bring yourself up to the higher conscious level, which is like neutral, love, peace, harmony, joyful, happiness, love, that high level of consciousness, things start to be different, because your operating level is from this higher level. So instead of feeling down, you consciously bring yourself up to this high level of consciousness, and all of a sudden things start to turn around, and you'll be able to see the world in different colors. And actually, when you realize this shift, it's quite simple, and you'll be really surprised to see this shifting part. Once you recognize how to do it, you could literally bring yourself up to this high level of consciousness, because you feel so much in peace with yourself and harmonized and comfortable, and you're loving and lots of light, and you're literally in a so much better condition, and you literally bring yourself to who you really are. And like, I used to live for my parents, or what do I say? How do I say it? I was trying to get approval from my parents, so that I was pretending to be somebody else, because I didn't want to get in arguments with my parents. So I kind of lead my life along with the fine line whether I don't get arguments with my parents too much. So I kind of went along with what they wanted me to be, which is so different from what I wanted to be. So there is a huge gap, and you could stay like that for a while, but after so many years of doing it, you just come to the point where you snap. It's like you're right here, that's who you are, but you're living away from who you really are. It's like there's a rubber band, right? And there is a point, the breaking point. When you hit it, you literally burst. And it's the way you live, the further away from who you are, the worse you feel, because you're not really yourself, and that's really hurting. That's really damaging your soul, because it's not who you are. And they try to come back to who you really are, but you're really resisting to be somebody else, because that's what you believe to be the only way to live or to please somebody else. So when you come back to who you really are, all of a sudden you realize that you have confidence in yourself already. Like, you don't really think about what others people will say or think of you, because you're aligned with who you really are. So it doesn't really bother you so much. So by doing to be who you are, I've tried so many different ways of doing things. But first, you just make your own time to be. You just look at your sky, look up the sky, and let your thought go, and look up these beautiful clouds changing the shape, or just drift away in this beautiful blue sky. Something like that. You just force yourself to be just being. No one is expecting you to do certain things. You just take things to do. Just be yourself. Something comfortable. It could be like sipping a coffee, reading a book, or looking at the flowers outside, walking through the park, or eating something favorite, or something, taking a bath, or playing a musical instrument, something that makes you feel good, not because somebody else says so. The measurement from somebody else, it doesn't count here. You just take your time to look up the sky and just be. You force yourself to have those times. And then you start to really look into yourself. You start to really have the room in your life to look into yourself, to see what you really, really like. And you start to open up the pathways to get more intuitions. Like, you have intuitions. For instance, when you're driving, all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I should slow down. And then if you ignore it because you had to be there at a certain time, boom, there's a police car waiting at the corner, hiding, and you got the tickets. I've been there, and I wish I knew, to follow my intuition then, but it's too late. You gotta ticket it, right? That sort of intuition, like gut feelings, we all have that, right? So you're getting those intuition, much sharper intuitions, because you're more to yourself, and you get this like goosebumps in your body when you think about something that you really, really enjoy or love. That's the way to communicating you that's what you're passionate about, right? So your antenna getting really sharp to perceive those intuitions as well. And that's the sign that you're really getting close to who you really are. And especially now, there's so many turmoils, worry out there. You might be worried about what's going to happen to my job or income. Like, a lot of people might think that way, and health. But I think this is the time really utilize to mentally train yourself to shift your mindset. And because of this coronavirus, all the global, attention is in one. So I think it's going to be a lot of change in the economy or the system wise, and a lot of job, cuts or automated jobs be increased, or some sort of big change is going to happen. So when you are ready, or when you have a lot of acceptance plates, you can move along with these changes. But if you're very closed-minded, always hanging on to the old ways only, or this way only, or has to be this way, your life will get really tough because there's so many changes gonna be happening. So it's important to have this control of your mind shift, so that when you face something bad or worrisome, like when you even go to the store, some people are very friendly, like a face expressions and vibe, but some people are very tense or worrisome, or maybe attacking because they're so afraid or worried. So that's you will get those feelings, but you know how to release them, because that's not yours. So instead of being affected by their feelings, that's their thing, instead you can just let them go. So you have that mental shift train during this time, so that you can go along much nicer on the other end. And constantly, because of you living here on this earth, so that you constantly getting those bad vibes as well. But you don't need to hold on to it. As long as you can shift yourself to the harmonized, neutralized, and peaceful place, you can always let them go. And you just focus on letting those bad feelings go. It just pops up every day, right? Like for me, I couldn't print out from my laptop or my iPhone, and I'm so bad at those machine IT related things. I get really frustrated and I get really angry, but just let it go. Like those little things that comes up, right? And also, this is a belief that I have, that I'm so bad at it, I'm not good at it, so I need to let those beliefs go, limited beliefs go. So it just occurs every single time that you live your life, right? So this is a constant practice that you do, and especially this time, there's so many materials that you can just let them go, because those feared, worrisome, or any of those uncomfortable feeling, because you have it in you, that's why you get connected to that outside feel as well. So it's a good time to just let them go, and you become more to yourself and harmonized in a peaceful, loving place. I think that's a very good self investment that you could do to shift your mindset no matter what the circumstances. And this is the process that I think we all gonna go through in order to get stronger in mentally. And of course, self-care, because we are all focused on how important it is to be healthy, like just not now, but in your life, to be healthy. That ties to the happier life and wealthier life. When you don't have the health, what's good to have the great money, or what's good to have a great family, or you can enjoy so much with a good health, right? So self-care, how to eat, you can indulge yourself as well, but you need to look after your health. Those conscious level would be shifting for the better. So it's a good time to train your mindset, and I think you'll be so happier and healthier and much better state through this whole process, and you'll be much stronger in your mind. And when you have the real clear mindset, you could do so much. You have so much gift in yourself, so you could bring that light out to shine people around you, and the world would be so much nicer and better and a comfortable and caring, loving place. So mindset, mind shift, it's a good training time. So have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.